Okay, we're looking at part two here of painting this beautiful sunset. Um, as always, I will wait for some people to come on, and right now I've got to turn my fan down because it's actually moving the cell phone. Yeah, it is. Okay. We have a thunderstorm happening, and I also have to let everyone know that last week's live feed, first of all, was on Wednesday. I couldn't do it Tuesday. That's my backup day. And it got zapped. It was just rolling along nicely. And all of a sudden, it ended, and I didn't even know it. And I was painting continuously. I was painting the orange into the yellow and that kind of stuff. But then all of a sudden, about 20 minutes later, it said video is finished or something like that, finished. And I was like, what? What was that all about? It wasn't even a little over part of an hour. And 20 minutes before it had already ended. So I continued painting without even knowing it. So my plan is tonight is to do a little bit of what you missed. Even if you go back to part one, you won't see this part because it was cut off. So I don't know what happened last week with it just ending suddenly. It could be YouTube. My phone wasn't dead, so it wasn't that. And also, we have a thunderstorm. So if this video does go off, get cut off, I will continue it in what we call an upload, right? I will do it not live. And probably won't paint tonight if it goes off. It's frustrating. But I will upload the continuation if this live feed gets interrupted again by the unknown that I don't even know. So having said that, just know that part one is up, and it's only this part, the yellows and the top of the cloud, that kind of stuff. But I continued on because I thought the video was still going. So hopefully that won't happen, and we will be fine. Let me make sure my volume is all the way up. Excuse me. Okay, so you guys can see this is the Blair synthetic paper. And what I'm going to do is a little demo of the part that you missed because I didn't have, I don't even know, what happened. But as I said, something got cut off. So I'm using Createx illustration colors. They're wonderful. And transparents, mixing them with the 4021 reducer, and of course white. When you put the white in, you start to get the lighter values, and a lot of it is lighter, and you start to get opaque. You get opaque paint. Okay, so having said all that, as I will let the newbies know, because a lot of people know, they're brand new. They want to know, well, what are you using? What kind of paint, etc. So that's what I'm using, and right now, I'll just take the whole thing off like this. So I'll put this back up in a little tiny bit, but I want you to see the blending of what I did. Just do it kind of quick here. All right, so this is a piece of the same Blair synthetic paper. You can get it on the website for the School of Realism at the store, and I love it. I mean, you can do things with it that you can't do a clayboard. I still love clayboard, but I can't use the dowel on clayboard. I've tried that before. You can do other things with it. It's very durable, and it's double-sided. Clayboard's not double-sided. I see a little blue tint on the bottom of this scrap piece here, so we'll just work right over that. This is just a demo piece. So the reason why I'm doing this is it was missing in action, and I had no clue, and I hope it doesn't happen tonight, why it got cut off. I was happily moving along. I love painting landscapes. Oh, I guess here, there's a little black here too. So I'm assuming when I was doing my regular mixing uh, hours before this video, this overspray. There goes the power. Well, actually, no. My light is it's thundering outside. My lamp, that's color, color correct lighting, daylight, it's called. I have to call the company. My switch is it's just loose or something. Hopefully they can replace it because I love the light. Okay, you can't do any of these things without color, the daylight. You can't do this under soft, regular light bulbs. You can't get the right colors. You can't see details. Under this lighting, the details that you can see in the photograph under this lighting, I can't kind of show you that. It just lights everything up, shows the true colors, shows you even for reading. Okay, so let's just do this part real quick. It's going to be basically that part that has the yellow. I'm not too much worried about the sun, but I'm just showing you the blend that got cut off. I can continue on with the real painting because the clouds weren't finished. The rays here, the sun rays, which basically are volumetric lighting, catching particles. It's like a burst. It's wonderful. Okay, so let's get the micron going here. I basically was using my Eclipse gravity feed airbrush. It's the HP, I can't see, it's got a reflection on it. I used to know this by heart. HPBS. It's an Eclipse. It's like they make the t-shirt model too that has the the bottom coming out, so it siphons up, and same thing, they have a nice wider nozzle than the Micron. It's really great for mixing and allows me to rest the Micron's tiny little nozzle and not get it all clogged with opaque paint. Okay, so let's do and it's also good to paint, also I can use it for painting, but I'm going with the Micron. Okay, so I made some extra color here. Let's see, I have to get, I'll take the one that has the most in it, I guess, right here. I need the yellow, golden yellow, and I need, I'm not going to spray the yellow because that's on the video. The first, you work from light to dark. So the first thing I would spray is the lightest color, which is the super light yellow. Bring it up. So that all around there, that's the white of the paper, which actually this white is a little bit grayer than pure white. And the only way you can know that is through the techniques that Drew Blair teaches with his color theory in a box. I don't teach that on here, but man, if you want to get into some serious, who would think there's a little gray in there, but you have to learn his technique. Okay, having said that, let me put a little of this golden color on. And this can be just like a continuation of what got cut off last week. And I think that faked everybody out too, that I was doing Wednesday. People get used to the one day. Maybe I'll just stick to that and I won't have a backup day because it's just, I don't know. It's good just to have routine, So here we go. All right, so I'm just going to dust in this lighter color. It looks yellow right now, and it's more of a golden color once I really get it going. It has to do with spraying it at 100%. So right now, I'm just going to put it in lightly so I can do some erasing. I'll put the sun in a little bit. It's just, I'm far away. I'm probably 6-7 inches away. Anybody that's just learning the airbrush, just know that it's air. Leave the air on and just start pulling back while the air's on. Pulling back halfway, probably more than halfway when I'm doing the sky. detailing and stuff, you're not pulling back much, you're just nudging it a little bit. And then also don't overfill your color cup on these side feeds or even your gravity feeds because spilling, and you don't need to do all that. You can just refill it. Okay, so let's get this. So at this stage, I can bring the yellow all the way down because it's an overlapping thing. It's to do with, see how strong it will get here? But it's lighter there. So I'll let that be the yellow. And in reality, the yellow in the painting is even brighter than this color I mixed. So, all right, let's put in the orange. And like right here, I could come in with erasing, and I could kind of find the top cloud where the sun is. Let's see if I could take this stencil here. I got this as a skin stencil from Blair, the Blair School of Realism, and I could do it this way. Let's see, and get that shape. I'm just going to try to erase with the bigger eraser. Let me get one here. Clean it off. So if I have a light spray there, I can kind of erase off of it, and I could possibly pick up the shapes that are there. Or you could spray, but I don't have white in the gun, so I'm just trying to preserve the actual white area where the sun is. So just kind of, it's a strong Mylar stencil. It's not fragile on the edges there. So I can kind of force this to just give me a little bit of where the sun is. Do your own thing over here. I do know that it goes like this from the real picture. It has like a line and maybe a smaller line there. So all of a sudden I have erased out the paint where the brightest color would be, the sun, and captured some of the shape of this. Okay, now go to the orange. I'm trying to move along because I want to get to the real painting. Okay, so this is, this orange is, so I have a system here of my own. Let me get this off of here because it's sticking to the photograph. My photograph, that's the big one, the 8x10. That's a painting I want to show you. Has all my notes on it. It's just numbers, and so I can number my bottles and stuff. But how I get the colors, that's where you want to get the Blair color theory in a box, because you'll be making your colors very, very accurate, and you'll get better if you just put your time in. See the colors there, they're pretty dead on. So okay, got all kinds of stuff sticking to itself here. That's what happens when you don't have a metal desk and magnets. So before I continue on, I do want to show you another painting. This is a photograph from Unsplash. I don't have the photographer's name, but I mentioned it when I was painting this, the name. And this is my painting that is not finished, obviously, but you can see colors and matches and different things that I'm working on to, similar to the sunset, but this is a fire in the sky, right? And there's really neat stuff going on there. Okay, so there's the photograph. All right, so that's my show and tell. Okay, so let's get the orange. So the orange would be the lower color of the sky, which is numbered 8. I think I might have made either a lot of it in here or I made a separate one, but anyway, number 8. A little stirring up a little bit here just to get it, except to turn this the other way. Okay, so let's have some fun blending. That's what the airbrush is made for, and you can do it very quickly. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm not worried about a horizon line taping off anything, because basically it's just a sample piece. So here we go. We're going to try to do the missing part that you didn't see, that you won't see on part 1. Okay, I'll just put this off to the side a little. I'm just going to bring the orange in from the bottom, and the orange will not be very dark yet because it's got to build up. A little more volume here. Let's go. There we go. Far away, overlap your passes. Look at your photograph. Pay attention to the bottom. There's my 100%, almost, probably right around there. That's what I want. I want the 100%. And then you want to fade. Fade up. So over here, it's going to be brown in the photograph. And so you could put the orange there. You don't have to go crazy wasting paint, though, because basically the brown will go on top of that. Here, there's nice things going on, and they are just subtle. So I'm going to just sweep across again, but further away now. So bringing this orange up a little bit, melting it, blending it. And then over here, you can just walk it off the edge. Again, here's the photograph. I'm just kind of copying that pattern. And then it goes under the dark cloud, but it kind of outlines the dark cloud like that. It's just waiting for the dark cloud. Then at that point, the real dark brown will come in over here, which you're going to see in the real picture, in the real painting. I can put stronger orange right here. And what you have here is this, and you can mist over lightly right here. Just bring a little more of the orange and let that golden, and kind of tie it together a little bit. And so there's openings and it's just matching it, that kind of a thing. So that was missing from, there's the 100% actually. See how dark it gets? And being that I got a lot of brown, I'm going to, on the demo piece, I'm going to add some brown because it will make sense to see that. I hope this is the right brown. What I mean by the right brown is I made a darker version. One of the browns is probably a little bit more, well, this one here is definitely got a lot more white in it. I'm not going to take the dark, there's my notes. I got a few notes here. Let me just put that up there. You could take this dark brown after it goes through its orange cycle here. Wow, it really takes a while. There we go. And if you keep staying on top of the same brown, it does have white in it, but it's brown, so it's not going to have super light. So instead of trying to spray this lighter in some areas, it's not that color. So I mixed the lighter brown. It has oh gosh, let's see. It has more orange in it. It has, I'm talking about this one. So this brown here, I'm not spraying over here lighter. I am spraying it here and here in the painting. But this one is a separate brown. And that it's already muted out with some whites and oranges. The opposite of orange is blue. And so it's got, these colors are in there. Then you've got the clouds down there that are just a darker orange version there. And a golden yellow that is showing up with an orange back on it there. Highlights that wrap in there. And a beautiful blend right here. Nice little orangey fade into that yellow. And then those, beautiful sun rays. Okay, so that's the darkest it can get. I mean, probably a little darker, but having said that, what I did is I wrote for myself a few notes here. It says on the notes, bounce around a bit. In other words, reminding myself that some of these colors can be the same and the lighter browns so it can bounce around looking for the little, be subtle, be very subtle because these softer clouds. Start with a small sample. That's what I'm doing here. It was just a reminder because the other video, like I said, was cut off. This has a correction color in here. Okay, the little under the sun, there's a cloud that I kind of made a little too orange. So I'm going to fix that. And then I had a note below the horizon, tape it off, and I'm going to be spraying in the darker line. It's like way out in the horizon there. And then the waves are black. I tested them, pretty much black. I'm talking about these waves. Back there, they're muted with more whites and stuff. But there's weird colors in here, and very hard to figure out. But it's not black. It's not just spraying a lighter gray. It's a bluish, greenish, weird color. And it's going to have the sun hitting the water. There's a lot of orange in the water right there. Then it goes out and it has some of that sky reflecting until it's so dark from the storm cloud and the nighttime that it all goes into that darkness. And then it has super highlights and details that are like speckly. You can see the golden sparkles and stuff. That's kind of the last thing you do. So the brown, okay? A little bit of brown over here. So what I'm doing is kind of a feather stroke. Take it at the bottom. It's right there. I'll just walk it across. If the power goes out, guys, we're having a bad thunderstorm. So hopefully it won't do that to me, but maybe I'll pop back on live again, so hang in there. These are really fun to paint. And as far as the full darkness, you want to just look at the photograph. And if it's really, really dark here, put it in and then bring it out. It just melts into the orange. And then you don't want to get carried away. There is a little whisper of brown, like on the edge. Got to put some more in the cup. I mean, it's subtle. That's where backing the airbrush back a little bit with the same color. And then you can just dirty that up a little bit, whisper it right there, and look at the photograph. You can see that I didn't do enough. There we go. Let's see. Not dark enough. One more pass. It's getting there. It's not being fanatical. It's just painting what you see. And if you like that kind of realism, you're just trying to, make a replica of it. So that could be a little darker on the edge. But that's basically what was missing. And, at the top, like, starting that other cloud, which we'll just go to the real painting in a second. You just get a little aim up and think of your edges. This is not a stencil. That would be what you call a hard edge. It's an intermediate edge or an orange glow. So you want to aim up and you want to start close and you want to kind of draw in the shape of the bottom of the cloud. Then you can start adding to the cloud. Where it's not overspraying, it's got a nice edge. It's even tighter than that, so you can go in a little tighter. But it's still a soft edge as opposed to, putting down a hard edge stencil. It's not that. It's not, your edges are everything in these things that we're trying to do. They are so critical. So you got to pay attention to the photograph reference. This is not really a cloud stencil, but I'll just give you a little edge here because it is kind of an edge here. Just this cloud, where it really is a shape like that. And then you aim down and you stay away from the overspraying outside of that. And you get some kind of cloud formation there. And with a shape, it looks like a mountain there, because it really does more something like this. And then you can fill it in. And that's good for the demo. There's a piece that's just worked on, little soft cloud. I'll use the dark just to do the one little soft cloud. I'll just get this paper out of the way. So it's kind of a feather stroke. It'll just walk through like that. I'm just using the wrong color here, but I want to just demo it a little bit. Okay, so you've got softer clouds as opposed to that real dark, which get really darker and darker as it goes up. So this actually could be a nice little, demo that you could just finish, and I got to air dry that right here. I saw the wet spot there. Yeah, so that's what was missing in the other video. Like I said, the erasing could come in here. Oops, put that on the end of there's a line that breaks through right there. And right into the yellow. I'll bring this up to the camera in a second. I'm not following the exact shape, obviously, at this point. I'm just trying to show you how you can erase it. And yet, it's not even going to be the weight of the paper. But I just want to show you that if you're not feeling like painting it, you can just erase it out and cut it through. Clean your eraser. And there we have it. Okay, so there's whoops, take it like that. And at the bottom, it's all nice. There's no particles, as you don't see like paint that's not mixed well, So I'm going to take the tape off that. And we'll start. Yeah, thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. And if you want, you could share the video for somebody else to see, maybe to a community page, one of the Airbrush pages or whatever. That would be nice. Let other people see it. So here we go. Let's get into the real painting right there. I guess we'll work on it right there. I think that's good. All right. And then we've got our little reference picture we can keep down here. And I'm going to kind of angle this just a little bit so that you guys can, because if I put the phone up in front of me, I'll be crashing into it. So there we are, ready now for moving forward. While this is still strong from last week, I'm going to take some tape here. I think on the painting itself, I'll use the new Deltec purple tape. Gentle, but yet it will give me an edge, and it won't really go after the paint. So we're going to come in here, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put a line under. Hopefully there's no gap of white, so I got to make sure I get that where there's no space. I see it's not hurting the painting. And I got to make sure I can walk it up a little bit here. It might be below. I need it to be just hitting the orange so that, let me just go across there. All right, if it's off a little bit, I will just reshift and that's right on the painting. So what's going on now in the photograph, I'll show you in the bigger one. There's an edge. This color, and I mean the one that's there, that color is just hinted right there. I'm going to capture it, and it'll be kind of cool to see. The waves are later, but I just want to capture that little, and then I got to look at the bottom of it. I got to see if it's a freehand. It's kind of blurry, so using a stencil would be a little hard, but meaning a little harsh line, but I can soften it later when I start getting into the filling in with the ocean colors. Right now, it's very subtle. It's a little opening that's about that big, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah, that's about right. And this might get even a little wider. It might even go downhill a little. I got to look at the real photo. No, it's pretty straight. It's pretty straight. But I think it's maybe a little wider because of the size of the bigger picture. So I'll just nail that there and there. Okay? You can do this capture and overspray, you can kind of make a little edge there so the photograph won't get messed up. Now I'm going to take the airbrush and just rinse out the brown, and I'm going to go ahead and fire in that ocean color a little bit, just under the horizon. I want to see it. I just want to see it next to the sky. Okay, so I've got that color somewhere over here. There it is. I have black in it, white, yellow, cobalt blue, orange, and it says light water. And the way I got to it was through the Drew Blair system, but not to say that some colors are really hard to find. you have to really, you have to know from his course how to get to those colors, but you'll see better. You'll start seeing things that you couldn't see before at all. And it's really, for anybody that wants to really match colors, I mean, I love it. It's like, that is the color, How would you like make a color of like your pants, like your jeans or something, and then you're painting and you spill the color, and it's really from a photograph, but it's the pair of jeans you're wearing. You won't see the paint spill on your leg. It will be the color of the jeans. Exactly. That's how dead on the mixtures are, especially when Drew makes them, because he's the guy that put it all together and has the skills from another planet. Unbelievable skills and talent, and very intelligent, figuring things out. And he was he moved along quickly. When he was an illustrator and he was doing book covers, and he had deadlines. And I've been down to his studio in North Carolina, and I saw him, between running to whatever the place was that had all the the copy machines and stuff. They're not in business anymore. And he'd get his copies, and he'd come back, and then he'd get a fax from like another company, I think Juicy Fruit, because he was doing stuff for big companies, and he just could manage doing all that. Star Trek book covers, deadlines. And so there's a lot of other things about different people, and Drew being the one I'm talking about, that are beyond just seeing the painting. It's just an incredible thing to see how they go about through their workday. I was fortunate enough to stay there. He invited me down there with my wife, actually, and we stayed for quite a few days and part of a week. I don't know. But I've been there like to his house 3 times, because 2 other times I went to his school that he opened in North Carolina. So I got to really be around the originals, be around him, see how his workday went and how he handled things. And besides the execution of the painting, which is something that back then I couldn't even match colors. I was just learning. And I really and truly, I got to tell you guys, I've been to his school, and that I'm talking about the new school in South Carolina, in Blair. And I was there for 2 weeks, and I still am so happy I could purchase the Color Theory in a box, because, okay, so right here is the sunlight. So I'm just going to dust this in. I'm probably not going to put it in as dark. I can always go over it later. I'm leaving room for the sunlight. I'm just putting in a little bit of that far away gray line. Okay, so that will be that. Let's just air dry it a little bit. But yeah, it is so cool to get to experience. So, and I was I'm in the sign business at the time, and I had art classes and stuff, but I was teaching children and basic airbrushing and stuff. But it was just so amazing to witness a day in the life of an illustrator kind of thing that eventually turned into full-time teaching. And of course, he, would paint portraits and jets and everything. Now he's doing a new one of a flower, purple iris, and that's something you can take a course and learn how to paint. His advertisements are all over Facebook and Instagram, and probably other platforms. But anyway, that's the water edge where it's going to meet. I'll show you the bigger picture. That's that line. And that's the other thing you'll learn. When you start putting color next to other colors, of course, that's just a little bit. Then all the colors that you made start to make sense. And he'll explain that to you. You'll own the course, by the way, for a lifetime because it gets emailed to you. It's not a DVD. It's something you own, and you can. He's trying to protect it from being just lent out, and I don't blame him. And yeah, but you'll own it, and so that's really cool. And so, being that I have that color in the gun, so let's just find the one wave just for a minute here. I'll just kind of come in here. This is not the color of the wave, actually. The color of the wave is black. I'm just going to indicate it here a little bit. The top of the wave. Leave some room for, there's highlights and stuff, so you can aim down. Again, this is a black wave, but I'm just dusting it in a little bit. This wave is very, it's gonna make that nighttime thing happen, especially when I put the black on top of that. And I'm just giving you a little feel of where we're going with this in a little bit. I'm getting in real close with the Micron. I'm drawing the top of the wave. I have a pencil line I'm looking at. And then you can come off that line and you can kind of just melt and blend. Tip dry. And yeah, I'm getting really lazy with the tip dry because of the 4021 reducer. Really helps a lot. But you still got the tip dry you gotta go. So that's kind of like the first way. But you can see like nighttime starts to happen, and then this color will it'll end up here. Let's see, the orange. So that other wave, I don't want to get mixed up, so I'll do one more little indication of this wave here. Whoop. Oh, we're out of paint. Okay, so if you're out of paint, it's time to switch, right? I'm not out of paint, but why start doing all the waves right now? I can get carried away. But again, it's so cool if you can get like a number of photos when you print out, and you could say, okay, I'm gonna cut this right here with an X-acto knife. I'm gonna cut this section off, and then you put this section against the white of this board, and everything all of a sudden the nighttime starts to go away because this is on there. This is, it helps you see the night scene, the darks against the lights, and it's really cool. You could do sections of the painting. You can do all kinds of stuff. So at this point, I'm going to go probably, that is a browner. It's too late now. I don't have to change. That brown was really a little bit more burnt umbery, but in this little photograph, it looks like that. But the big photograph, it's really showing that it has a little more of a brownish compared to this brown. It's subtle, but in real life, well, you know what? It's the transition area. So the top really is that dark. But as it comes down and you spray lighter and the orange is meeting it, it starts to look like burnt umber again. And it's really cool. It's just all wonderful little things that happen in the sky there that you're mimicking. So let's see. I'm going to go into this area where the rays are. All right. What's more, my voice sounds like it's trying to crack. I'm going to take this piece of tape off. By the way, you can paint a whole nother painting on the back. It's a piece of synthetic paper. Okay, so just like this is just a sample, but it's flexible. It's you can't tear it or anything like that. It's, but there's the back. So I could do more demos on it. I could do water droplets or whatever. You could just keep, doing little projects, or I could put a mountain thing in here and make this be a little painting, right? So it's cool. This is the clay board. I think it's right here. Yep. lately I've been using the clay board to lean against. I have a piece of paper I'll test colors on, and this little weight, it's just kind of so. But I do use the clay board too, and I love the thickness, 3/16 masonite and clay board. Okay, so that's a whole nother thing. Okay, so now we're going to go into the top where the sun rays are, and I'm going to get light. I'm going to lighten that pencil line to where it's just hardly visible, just a guide for me. But you want to erase it when you get to the section. Like if you're doing a portrait and you're starting to get to the nose, you don't want no pencil lines anymore. But you don't want to erase like the wing of the nostril, or you don't want to erase things till you are there and your eye knows, okay, I just took that out. I can see almost a whisper of it, and then you're good. And then the light areas, like right here is a lighter area, I can erase next to that pencil line because there's some overspray creating a little bit of that sun rays. Okay, so let's get that color in that I picked out and designated. I do have areas that I got to leave for the lights. So this side, you want to have them in first, but this side doesn't have, in other words, that cloud under my thumb, the highlights there, of course, that's something that I can use a correction color and put the yellow in and spray on top of opaques. But this stuff has nothing in the way, so I could bring that over there. I could skip this area and I could go into here. As I put the color in, you'll see it. Okay, so that it's a kind of a brown color, and again, you wouldn't know the color if you didn't have the actual help from that course, unless you're some genius that can. I've seen people mix colors for automobiles on online. An Oriental guy, I don't know, man, the guy was just 1, 2, 3 mixing right from his mind, and he nailed these colors to the swatch, and unbelievable auto paint. Okay, so I'm going to put my fan back on and let's go. Keep going, right? Getting hot in here. Ow. Just smashed my toes. When you're at home, you can take your sandals off and you can relax and then smash your toes on another chair. It does hurt, and it's one of those things where they start hurting more and more as you're sitting here. Okay, I'll have to suck it up like a sailor. So I need my sky color, and I have my note right here. It's called number 6. I'm looking for it. That is smart, man. Oh, heavens. Okay, so this is my color for the wave, the lighter waves. Treat the waves like mountain range, This color here, that color there, and then all in between is lighter little shapes. Millions. Even back here, you can go in with the airbrush, or even a paintbrush, watered down paint, creating tiny little. I'll show you on another painting. Okay, this is a little paintbrush work on this one. And this is not totally finished, but okay, so we've got palm tree. Again, photography, get it from the free websites or get it from Getty Images, pay monthly, whatever, get it. Get the best photography in the world. Look at that photography. There's my painting. But here, if you look real close at, I gotta focus it. It's hard on this little reference picture, but there's visual noise right in here. That's just little shapes. And I used the paintbrush, but I made sure I airbrushed over it so that you could see texture in that strip of water. This is an infinity pool, okay, with all the beautiful soft movement of the water. And that's the Bahamas, I don't know where it was, it didn't say. And again, this was from Unsplash. I did it a long time ago, and I got my blue. I see the blue on the photograph is a little bit more lighter and cerulean-like, but That's what I did at the time. And in the landscape, you can get away with, making your own thing. You can make the sky green if you want. And sometimes another photograph, like you get 3 photos, 5x7, 8x10s, and all of a sudden you got little different colors from the printer. I don't know. Okay, so what was I going for? The number 6. Light water, blackish. Okay. So where's number 6? It's a brown. I think this is the color. It is. I didn't put the number on it. So I'm staring at the table over here with 12, solo cups with lids on them. And I'm like, oh, look, I wrote on it above the cloud. But I still should have put a number because it is numbered. So I'll do that right now. That was right. Number 6. And then you have a system. When you're making matching colors, when you're shooting from the hip and you're just making colors as you go, you don't have to go through all this, But it will be a different turnout unless you can manipulate, like transparency and stuff to be very photorealistic. And you can. People can do it. Okay, so I need that in the gun. I got to clean out the gun with a little bit of flushing. I have my cleaning station by Awada. I love it. I won't be without it. I used to have a ventilation desk, and I've had these, and a ventilation desk worked really good, especially for illustration. T-shirt stuff, it didn't let the store get cloudy, but when you're teaching and you're spraying against the foam or some kind of board is going to blow back into your face. I developed a really bad cough from the Wicket paints. I developed a Wicket cough. And I don't miss that. The t-shirt paints really, I was like swallowing it. It gave me a dry throat. That's what the allergist said. Oh man, was I barking all the time. Like real. And then the kind of cough where when you start coughing, it just gets worse and worse and worse as you go. And then you sound like you're sick, but you're not. All right, so this has the 40-21 in it. I'm going to test it. Sometimes I put too much of that in and then it's too liquidy. But then if you start going, oh, I'll put some more white in, you're going to change the value of it. And that might not be what you want. But you can put the transparent, what is it called? I don't use it that much. Let me see. Hold on, show here. This is, it still looks like white paint almost. Transparent base. And you can put this in to thicken up paint that's, transparent, or you just need a little more body for it. That's what that is. Okay. Boy, a piece of paper hits the ground. It sounds like pretty loud. Okay. Tap into the board. Here we go. Hang in there and let's have some fun here. Okay, I got the color in. Got the sample picture here. We can put it right there so that you guys can see what I'm going for. And I got to remember those rays. Okay, so right here, I wouldn't mind having a stencil actually. So I'm going to take the blue tape, the purple tape. I'm going to draw the pencil lines that I already have in there a little bit darker, just to give me a little to see through the tape. It's got some shapes going on there. Actually, I got to be careful. That's right. This is not clayboard, so I don't want to. I want to see if I can lift that pencil line off. Let me just test it. No. Nope. All right, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to make, I'm going to just take a stencil or something here. Okay, let me get a shape from I'm going to find the shape of something that, like this looks like that part. So if I put that here, I'm just talking about the top, I'm not talking about down here now. I can kind of spray off of it, test it on a piece of paper. And I've got that protected nice there. Now, can I find other shapes? Yeah, right here. Oops, I was flushing the gun. Spraying about 20, probably somewhere in the family of. I like these shapes. I'm just add it in. It's a cloud. You can change it a little bit. There we go. Now, as far as how dark, I mixed the darkest, the ray. I mixed the actual ray, the darkest color. So now I have to find that ray, which I believe is right here. And I have to spray it in, and I can spray this darker once I get it established. Keeping it a foggy edge, no stencil. Okay, that might be too dark by me spraying it, but I'm going to just do one more ray right here. Do a little faster. Keep it light. In between, I'm going to just mist over everything like that. I might have gotten a little too heavy there, but that's all right. I can lighten that. And now I got to see where's the rays. I see orange in here. So I'm going to kind of leave a little room for that. There's another ray here, but it's really the top. So I'm leaving room for the orange, and then, yeah, this goes into a nice orange over here. So I will just look at the small picture. I've got that one. And then off the top of this one, I've got another very faded one that just kind of goes like that. And the edges are soft. So I have to pay attention to that, you know? Okay, so now, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna mist over that very lightly, right there. That's kind of like what I'm gonna do with the water too. I'm gonna tie it together by overspraying on it like that. And then all the waves down there or the lighting up there will start doing its thing. Okay. And you have to trust your mixtures too. And if you have to adjust things later, you can. I see 6 repeats itself over here. So let's do this. There's a shape here. Tip dry, you can kind of rock the needle like that. Go after it. That actually is darker. I can spray on top of that. That's the darker color that I'm finding it with this. Okay. Kind of crazy looking there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with an eraser, probably the aggressive eraser, and try to clean up the areas that are going to be the orangey yellow and kill the pencil line too. Also remember when you're using the aggressive eraser to turn it so that you're working away from the paint building up on it, and then go down to a piece of paper, and then you can clean it off so that it's going to work. And this paint is made to do this. It's made to be erasable, especially in the early stages like this. But it won't erase too good if you don't have um, the cleaning part done to the eraser. Just won't do it. Okay, so let's see. Even down here, I could come up. I'm looking at the photograph to my left. There's going to be a soft cloud here, so I'll just kind of clean that up. I'm spinning the eraser, circular, kind of like when you twirl a brush, and then I get that saved out for another cloud. That's another lighter version. Okay, so there's that. It's kind of neat. You're drawing, you're sculpting. It's all kinds of fun stuff that you're doing. This is going to be a very dark cloud right here, I do believe. Let me see something here. Is my drawing on the money, No, it's not. It looks like there's more sky. So I think under that, this cloud really, whatever I drew there, it's not correct. It's just faking me out a little bit. So I have to go off this bottom line, and then I can start saying that this is the actual cloud here, not above it. It just kind of ends. So it's actually fatter than that. It's kind of like, it's going to be that real dark. But then I can knock the line back a little bit. Clean that up. Doesn't matter too much because it's being real dark. I'm going to use the wrong brown on purpose just to show you that you can still find the shade. Right down here. And then just paint it again. Got a little fuzzy there. That'll be a brown cloud, real brown. So you just slowly put them in. Here there's going to be a little guy, tip dry. Using a little pump stroke here. Pump stroke is kind of like that. This is the low rider trigger with Drew Blair's soft spring. I won't have any airbrush without the soft spring. It's just no resistance. It's wonderful. I'm open to trying all kinds of airbrushes, but my wallet isn't open. So I got my Micron. I'm not saying there's not other good airbrushes out there. I just have been sticking with a Wada for a long time, and I love it. But again, I'm not saying there's not good airbrushes out there that other channels talk about and use, Timothy, John Luke Smith, of course, Steve Leahy, they have all kinds of wonderful other airbrushes to use. All right, so it kind of almost looks like, that color looks wrong. It almost looks like it's a gray blue. And if I have anything wrong, I can go in after it. So this is where the cloud could change right here. Let me see if I can get in real tight. Use the Micron for what it's worth, right? Follow that line. Drew paints like this. Gets the joint of the finger in there. I talk about him all the time because that's the direction I go in. He's the artist that I follow the most and a student for life. So you're going to hear about Drew on this channel. But there's other artists out there too that are rocking it. Different styles that are very impressive. Control, oh my gosh, freehand control. Some of the guys, there's a little color shift from that. So the cloud changes over, oops, air dry. I'm seeing the shine. It's dry now. Okay, so that cloud kind of did that, and it follows all the way across, doing the same thing. It drops down, Drops down in here. I think it goes back up. A little confusion here because, no, that's right. This is right. So this would be that cloud. And it breaks away a little piece right there. And then it kind of goes down. There's going to be some highlights that will be right in this area. And this is fun trying to erase out where the overspray kind of took over. And the highlight's going to be in there. It's kind of like a yellow, whitish yellow, kind of outlining the cloud. I'm not going to go and do it with the eraser, but I'm cleaning out the very beginning area right here. Just cleaning it up a little bit, a little circular. You can do circular erasing so that, and then all that overspray onto the paper up above, you know, this will pull away and you'll see what it really looks like. So we got the light coming in there, and we've got pencil line I want to kill right here. So just erase down a little lower into it. Now I can come back to my color here, which is the orange. Remember that the one cloud is like dark brown chocolate. The same cloud coming off of it is this wonderful orangey brown. Here's a little breakaway cloud. Another breakaway cloud up here, I think. Yeah, right here. And then it kind of just goes into that white here. So I won't connect that, but I will spray this in solid right here. Yeah, every once in a while I do use Drew's technique there, usually when I'm working in a tight area, but I haven't mastered it to where I always even remember to do it. Now, I don't know if I have any comments that were coming up, but nobody, is comments working? Could somebody just say the sound is working or something? Because I just thought of that. I haven't seen any comments on here, and it makes me wonder if that's even working. So, if you could. Okay, so that's that shape. That is, where am I? I got lost here. If it's not drawn out accurately, you can lose it real quick. So these clouds really are this color. Here's a little dagger point. How to do them in a close-up area instead of just big, like for t-shirts, dagger strokes. How to do the microscopic ones. It's all feel. So the air on, paint, paint off, that's what we're doing. Now this fade right here is going to fade into the orange, a really nice orange. So let me bring a little more of this shape here and get one more little mountain right here, a little raised area. Kind of drawing with the airbrush, right? Okay, now I can kind of put this color right here, right under the brown, right in that area. And I'm going to melt it into the orange. But this is looking orange, but it's really, because it's coming over by a dark color, but it's creating what you call a color shift. But I'm not going to have to worry about it because the dark is going to go right on top of it. So I'm going to go back to, this is going to be a nice melt here. I'm going to go back to, say, number, I need some kind of an orange, so let's go to like the number 8 that I used at the bottom, this real dark orange, but I'm going to spray it lighter. Okay, so here we go. This is where the clouds start to look beautiful, because you're talking about the effects of the airbrush blending in. Flushing it out a little. Turn the volume up, kick that paint out of there. Okay, here's the orange. And it's orange, but it's got all kinds of colors in it. I know it's got cobalt blue. I know it's got burnt umber. I know it's got burnt sienna. It's got probably violet. No, it's got yellow. Like that's on the lid. Oh yeah, it's right here. Orange, red, burnt sienna, yellow, white, cobalt blue, and burnt umber. That's what makes up this orange. That's what makes that orange. And it melts right into it. Okay, here we go. So I'm taking bottom orange and I'm melting it along, looking at the photograph. Here's the big photo. See that beautiful blend right there? It's like a sunburst on a guitar, you know, that beautiful from one color to another. And I'm paying attention to where it is. It's right in here. And it comes down. I got to move a little thing here so I can see better. Okay, it comes down where it kind of is, but then it goes more into the orange world like that. But I'm spraying it much lighter than there. And then it goes down here, and it might even be, I can probably get away with this, but there's going to be some cool things. I'm going to just use, I'm going to use this right in here. No. I'm just trying to find the shapes. Okay, so that's like a boot shape. Let me draw that in. Okay, so I got a little shape here that's coming down, and I'm not going to spray hard on this orange because I don't want it as dark. Goes like that. Cuts over here. Kind of breaking up a little bit in there. And then it fires right into that brown. But then the brown's going to come back over it. And then it does a little golden thing, just like mist right here. It's not as intense, but it's just there. But these shapes got to be really captured. They got to be like stenciled a little bit. Let's see, I got to block that out. So I'll take that little point and protect that area. Is that right? Yeah, I'm going to protect that area. No, that would kill it. Reverse. Okay, so I'm going to see what I got I got Gerald Mendez's stencils too. They're more made of a paper. The other's Mylar, but I might find what I'm looking for. But I gotta be careful too because there'll be openings all over the place. Yeah, this one looks like a tree, right? I have them divided. I just keep it in an envelope. And I have it all divided up to keep them from getting stuck to each other. I'm looking for shapes, but in reality, there's too many openings on that. And being that it is paper, I would rather use that in a different situation. So I'm going to see what I got. Some of the edges, when you buy the stencils, Drew makes sure he puts in other cuts for things that you might just need. Like, you know, I'm trying to protect the yellow. I'm going to freehand this in a little bit right here so I know where I'm going because it is pretty soft. Maybe it's not as strong on orange, but these little shapes are happening. I'll just freehand it if I can. The big one here. Yeah, that's kind of going in the right direction. Probably find more shapes on the skin one. I need that. I could use that little guy right there. And sometimes you just got to spray just a little bit, you know, because you might go too heavy. There we go. It's starting to find, it's getting a little intense, but I can quiet down the saturation by just going over it later and knocking it back a little. So we've got some orange over here coming out of this cloud. And just go little here. soft. Kind of like I said, it reminds me of a guitar. You know, the factory, the way they spray those beautiful sunburst colors. Okay, so where do I see this? Do I see this in there? I see a little mist of it in there, but mostly a yellowish color. So I'll tint that a little bit just to knock it back. And that makes everything else start making sense with the, you know, different things you can do. So let's see. I'm going to try. I don't know if my dowel is going to work, but I'm going to try it. Right in here, somewhere in here, it starts to, yeah, right here. It might not, this was painted last week, so this probably isn't going to work. No, it's not working because it's dry. The paint is hardened. So I will go about that either with the eraser, just to at least break in there a little bit. Right in, here's the shape. Here's the shape here too. Yeah, the eraser's getting in there. Get a little line there. That little skinny line, I'm going to paint that in with, try to draw it in a little bit with this, but it's skinny. It's working out. It's working out. Okay. It goes this way. There's little shapes that are going on in there. So I won't go too crazy here because I got to figure out where that white goes up and cuts in. I think something got lost in translation here as far as knowing where things are. Again, the eraser's getting dirty, so we'll just not do its thing. Now I cleaned it. Now I'm putting a line there. And there's going to be a line right in here. Just cut right through there. Turn the eraser a little bit. And that shape's starting to happen. It's starting to look like, you know, what's in the photograph right there. The pencil line can get erased just by pressing and going after it. Here, sharper and sharper, you know, designs. Okay, over here, there's going to be a nice highlight right on top of this cloud. I'll try it, but I can paint it in. It's just going to cut through. This is too fat, so I'll just start it right there. Actually, I could probably work it in a little bit because I can spray the yellow back down. It's just like outlining the cloud a little bit. There we go. That's enough for that. Okay. So slowly but surely, and you come back at it later with fresh eyes, and then you start to see, well, you see it better. So that now would be more of, I believe, that orange color, the second orange I used, that color right in there. Yellow, golden, like a golden yellow. So what is that? That is, you see what that is? That is, I'm talking about numbers, my number system right here. I would say number 5. So that's way over here. It's up here, but I'm going to spray it later. So it's a pretty good system. I mean, it's not exactly, it's my little way of going about it, but it works for me. And there's other ways to go about it. But okay, so let's see. I'm going to put a drop of 20, 40, 21. I mean, whoops, sorry, whoops. That was not good. Let me fix that. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when you have your cell phone on a holder. Get that twisted over there more. And that way. That's good. I want you to see that part of the painting more. It's a flexible arm holder. Okay, so I was looking for number 5. I must have made 2 of the number 5s for the demo. I didn't want to run out for the original painting. So now I'm getting rid of the orange that I have there. A little stronger there. I'm going to get rid of that out of the gun and go to the more yellowy color. Now again, if I hit the yellowy color onto the painting, onto the darker areas, it will be all right because dark can cover it. Color shift. When you hit a light color over a dark color, it will shift to an ugly, ugly color shift. Usually goes bluish, dead looking. Okay, so now I'm going to take this area and then I'm just going to tint this with this color because it's kind of everywhere in there. And I'm just going to look at it. I don't want to get too strong. I don't want to put it in at 100% because there's other things going on in there too. That's probably 60% maybe. Okay, so we've got those colors waiting. That's good. So it's almost like this trails up into there. Okay, over here, I'm going to be bringing, what am I doing? I'm going to spray this color here, right in the middle area. Bring it right on up. You can bring it over all the way, but there's going to be an orange coming back from this way. So I'll just spray that in. Here comes the thunder again. Okay. Okay, so that's got a base waiting for it now, and I'll go to the orange. That's the color at the bottom. So one light color is first, then the next color, and the next color, darker and darker. Even though they're colors, they get darker, darker values. So orange out of the bottle just wouldn't cut it. It's just too saturated. You have to tone it. You have to know color theory. Basic color theory, at least. Okay, so I need, what do I need? I need the orange, but I need, there it is. Okay. So that's saying 3. Let me try something here, because I just put 3 away. I don't know about that. If it says it, I'm going to go by it. I just thought I could take the darker orange. I probably could, and I could probably spray it, you know, into that area. I got to stir this, so you can use a little paintbrush and stir it up. Keep your little cups around for, you know, cleaning the brushes, a little distilled water and. Okay, this will work. So now I got to bring this color in. Yeah, that is the color. Wow, you got to trust what you did before. It can be helped with the stronger orange because it only goes out to about there. That's about 100%. I'm spraying it over itself now. And it kind of just diffuses a little bit in this area. It's the yellow, it's the light. And then I am going to take the real dark orange now and tail end it there, just using my eye. That would be the darker bottom orange. It's much more saturated. It's much more. It's far from, you know, it's not the edge of the color wheel by far, but it's everything on the outside of the color wheel is very saturated, vivid. But at the same time, if I control this, I can put a little bit more orange from the bottom in. That's the great part of the airbrush. I'm going to keep looking at it and go a little bit more over here. back to the edge a little. Look at it. I'm happy with that. It's not, this is not finished by no means, but it is definitely coming along. Put some orange up here where the brown color would start changing because it's more intense there. All right. A little bit here, a little golden area right in there. I'm just spraying it light. The full strength orange, I'm spraying light. Okay, so there's what happens to, that's the color shift right there. Looks like an ugly color, So let's get the dark chocolate, darkest brown, and go into it. Okay, just gonna do a little more. Alrighty then, we need the real dark brown. I gotta get in the habit of putting the lids on. This is not a gravity feed airbrush where I'm just pouring paint into the top of it. This is pre-mixed colors. Okay, where am I? What number do I want? Oh yeah, the real dark one. Number 12. Why does it say 8 on it? That ain't right. Ain't right. But it looks like the right color. Wrong number. Oh, that's an empty one. Okay. I know I made this color because I knew I was running low on it, but I'm not seeing where I placed it. Underneath the stencil. You can do a lot of little speckling too later, like through this. It's like little dispersion of dots that are probably not perfectly round. And you can get some wonderful, another stencil from Drew's. Look at the edge of that. Let me get that back there. It's got textured edge. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, he thinks of everything. Smooth here. Gives you a little bit of all kinds of things you might need. Okay, so where's my dark? Give me a second, guys. Well, I know I made it. This happens. Oh, the lid's off. I see that. Okay, if the lid's off, then that means I did a no-no. I have paint sitting here open. And there it is, I think. Possibly, yeah. It needs a little 4021. Wake it up a little bit. That's an empty 4021. Got my new bottle. And then I also have the big, I think a 12, maybe the 16 ounce to refill this bottle. So that's the 4021 reducer, which thank you Createx for making that for us. I love it. Yep, that's what happened. It was off to the side. And here we go. Okay, so right here, I'm going to add a little bit more, but I'm going to aim down, thinking about that beautiful painting of a guitar where they're doing the sunburst, and melting the orange into the brown, just kind of hazing it, I should say, right here. Keeping that little shape there. And then just blowing down off of that into the orange. I could always come back with more orange, dirty up the orange a little more. Right here, it's just spray a little lighter version of it. So it's just fading out. The whole section is just fading out. And there's little disturbances in here that are, it's probably not that dark. This one is. Just kind of locking my hand in place. Going in close and drawing the shape. Clouds that are breaking away. Now, even that little piece that's breaking off there, it's an orange or brown, orangey brown. So I wouldn't use this. I'm going to come in here and second coat this right in this area. Make sure it's strong. I'm going to capture this edge a little bit with a stencil right here. So I have to pull that on an angle if I have to. Yeah, it's kind of in the picture, but I got to just do a little work on the other side of it. Yeah. That goes into a lighter brown, so I got to spray that out. And I got to just look at this, make sure this is cutting into that. Let's see, right here. Yeah, it's right about here. I'm going to blur the edge of that hard stencil right there. Just go on it a little bit. Whoops. A little too much. But it blurred the edge. That worked. It just took away the stencil look. Okay, this comes down a little more here, this brown. Kind of goes this way a little more. And it goes over to there a little more. Now there's like a melt going on. I can bring the orange back up over there. I don't want to get carried away. I'll stare at this later, and I will definitely be able to, you know, work on that. Down the volume a little bit. Put this up in there. Tip dry. Little breakaway cloud right there. And a little more shape on that one. Little tiny details, that's all. All right. And there's these other clouds going on. I'm going to deepen the top of this just a little with the brown. Like I say, one color on top of another. A little more volume of air. Right there. Look at it. Come back in here. And start to find these shapes. Right here, there's a little soft shape there. And there's a nice soft shape there. Goes like that. And then it reappears over here, the darkness. Just a little bit. Okay. This was the dark one. I painted this with the wrong color on purpose because I was just showing you that it's just going to get darker. So you just kind of do it. Come in here. It's really dark, so it's got some shapes to it too, like this. Breakaway cloud right here. And then it just kind of goes like that. And then you look at the bottom of it, and it kind of does a little of this shape right there. Okay. So these clouds are just kind of appearing. Even this can have a little more of this darker brown, but I got to be careful. I got to really go subtly right here because it really isn't super dark. It's just like trying to spray away from it a little bit. Yeah, that's something like that. This one is got a little baby line right here. It's got a nice little thing that comes up like that. Weird. It's all fading out and reappearing and gonna. And if you do something like, if you hit something a little harder than you wanted to, it's a sky. It has forgiveness. It's not like you're gonna ruin every little thing you're doing. It's just paint, have fun. Happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say, and paint and have fun. And it's a sky. It's not a face. You're not looking for producing the exactness of a face or something like that. So you can get a little bit relaxed with these nice little landscapes or seascapes or whatever they are. That'll be a little more orangey. This will have a little more brown in it as I go over here on top of the orange, outlining the edge a little bit right here. And then just put it in like that. Okay, so I guess at this point, I could take this off here for a minute. We're going to be working on a lot of subtle clouds in there as I go, but is this brown? This is the brown. So I can come back here now because I can see that it's darker right in here. Right here, it's very dark. But it's got more burnt umber in it, so I'm just going to leave that part of the edge and put more color in it, a little more burnt sienna and colors that are going to make this fiery color look better. Now that I'm looking at it, get that brown out of there, and with a dirty airbrush, I don't even have to really, I can just blow a little bit of water through it. I blew that right off the airbrush desk here. Lid was still on it, and there's probably nothing in there anymore. Okay, I'm going to just take the same bottom color, that orange, and I'm going to just try to do a little freehand stuff here, like orange and then maybe sepia right out of the bottle, that kind of stuff. Just break away from some of the strictness of this exact mixture stuff. Because before I knew how to paint this way, this is how I painted anyway before. But this is going to be more orangey brown. So now just dusting it in right there, dusting it in over it. I'm going to paint these later. I'll just put it in as orange for now. And I'm staring at the painting and I'm kind of just seeing the nighttime-ish over there and over here. A little more intense orange. This will have the brown again. And I'm gonna dust this orange right in here, one pass. Look at it. I want that glow. Maybe a couple little soft clouds are gonna be in here. And one more over here. I'm using full strength down at the bottom. That's the color I mixed, but literally spraying it super light, kind of creating an outline of a cloud that's just in that area. It's like a dent. And that the rays do start to reappear right here. And maybe right here. If I get a little too carried away, there's not too many rays at the bottom. And then they show up, like maybe one more broke off there. So you know that the rays are over there, but they're not doing exactly what that's doing. Okay, a little more orange glow over here. And here, off this edge. And that's going to be pretty much it for tonight. I want to stare at this. I want to make sure I'm happy with everything. This is not finished, but it's getting ready for the final details of outlining the clouds and doing things like that. But I can do one more thing just to make you see what's going to happen with the nighttime. This was a gray that's going to live down in here and spray very lightly all over the place. But I'm going to put the black in right out of the bottom. And I know it because I tested it to make sure it wasn't like a charcoal or whatever. But I'm not just going to pour this black into my airbrush. I could, but I'm going to put a little bit of 4021 in a solo cup to give me a little more liquidy, faster moving paint. They spray great out of the bottle, but I just like that extra little bit of flow. So a couple drops, point, point, point. You can use distilled water, just to help it move a little better. The airbrush is dirty. Just give it 1, 2, 3. Just cleaning the color cup out a little bit. And now going to black, I don't really have to worry about too much. Another couple drops of that reducer. Make that very flowing. There we go. That's good. You could just tell by the way it poured into the cup. Okay, so I'm going to go to this wave for a minute. I'm looking at it. It is not a stenciled edge. You have to really get a magnifying glass. And you have to say to yourself, okay, should I use a stencil? Let's look at the bigger one. Is it really that hard of an edge? Is it really? And it's not. Some areas are, like this one here. But back there, it looks like to me it's an intermediate edge, which would mean freehandish when you come in here. But once this black goes in here, let's see, where is it? I'm going to aim the airbrush down, keeping it an edge, but keeping it from blowing overspray up into the top. And I'm just going to dust this in a little bit right here. Not go crazy. I'm going to leave a few, like the grayer in between, because it doesn't fill in all the way. It's just in certain areas. Here's a real tight one, like where it's like a stencil was used. And then I'll just second coat it off the edge, aiming down. I see a little overspray went up, but it's got some gray behind it, so. And then the shapes will be just like, there'll be a shape here. Oh, tip dry. This is like a feather stroke, right? Right there. And then I'll leave some openings here, just because there's other things going on inside the wave that is not solid. Most of it's pretty solid, and then there's always overspray, like back behind the wave, there's a little bit of this that got over there before or whatever, and you can actually make an edge, and keep it at wherever it's really soft, just stay away from it, I guess, but where it's really hard, that's what you want, the hard edge. So I'm just going to erase that off. It's something you probably can't see too much in the video, but what I'm saying is you can clean them up. You can erase things out. You can go back into here, creating some lighter areas, and then you can bury them. That's too strong because it's too fresh of erasing, but you can go in between those shapes and you can create that kind of thing going on. Now I'm coming down too far on this wave. That's the wave that's out further. So I've got to take that part out. Now's the time to do it. I got too close to the other wave, and there's other gray. That other gray I made, it's in there. And it can just cover it just right. I'm just gonna erase it for a little bit there and kill it here with the wide end. There, that's waiting. That's just gonna be waiting for the other gray. And where I think it needs a harder edge, I can actually come in and go, oh, I think that's that's an edge right there. That needs a stencilish kind of thing. So I've got to pay attention, little by little, find the little bumps and raises, because waves aren't just, there are all kinds of little things happening, like that one. It's popping up, the water's shooting out, splashing, doing things like that over here by my thumb. Look at that cool thing. All right, so there's where we're at, but you could see the night. I mean, if I put all gray on here right now, it would totally look more like a night scene automatically. You just take that up to the, well, I can't really show you that, but just put that up there and you can see the night look right away. Just flip this way. See that? Right away. The whole image goes into a sunset night scene. The white of the board or the paper is making us get like, we're not seeing it yet. It's like it turned the lights down, or something. It's really cool. So I'll continue on next week, as long as everything's good with my schedule. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know what's going on with the comments. I'm glad the video didn't shut off, though. You have a good week. Be safe. God bless you guys, and thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you next week. Take care and good night.